So, Mabuhay, welcome back to Philippintastic. My name is Kevin, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my arrival in the Philippines and the quarantine process, which was not an easy thing to do just a few weeks ago. Now it's reverted back to its normal policy of entry for U.S. citizens, where you can get the free 30-day visa and there's no quarantine as long as you're vaccinated. But for me, it was a little different. I had to have a lot of paperwork, I had to have PCR tests, I had to have COVID hotels booked, and it caused a lot of problems along the way, which I'll talk to you a little bit later here in the video as I'm in the quarantine hotels. But initially I flew from the Midwest to LAX, and the flight was okay. But once I got there, I found out that my PCR test that I'd received was post-dated, because I got there on the 21st, but this one was dated the 22nd, so they said, you can't fly. So I spent the night at LAX and bought another flight the next day to go to Vancouver, because the only other flight available to Manila from LA was not until almost a week later, so I wasn't one to wait. I felt a little bit better because I knew I was on my way overseas to Manila, so I could finally relax and get some sleep. Hey guys, this is Kevin. Just hanging out here at my quarantine hotel called Nico's Airport Hotel in Manila. I just arrived here a few days ago. I'm in here for 5 days for quarantine due to the policies of the Philippines, coming here from the US and all the paperwork that went with that to get here. Good sized room, window, not much to look at out there. Just on the side of another building. I think that may be the other side of the hotel. TV on the wall, haven't really watched it. Got the cabinets for the clothing. Also got the mini fridge down there. One thing I didn't like about the service here was they provide you with your food. It's included in your meals, but not your water. So you have to buy your own water. I don't really want to drink the water from the tap just yet, as I've just arrived. My body needs a little time to adjust, so I'm not shitting every day. But the bed's pretty comfortable, big enough for me anyways. And the bathroom, good sized bathroom for one person, very clean, which is one pet peeve I have. On day 3 of my quarantine, and then I'll be leaving hopefully on Saturday to go fly to Iloilo and be with my wife Joji and meet my stepdaughter Shanzi for the first time. So I'll get my tests taken supposedly on the 5th day. They come by after midnight, anytime between midnight and 6 a.m. So apparently I need to stay up all night and wait for them to knock on my door. And then after they take that, usually results within 24 hours, but I've been hearing that it doesn't take more than maybe 8 to 12. So I should be able to leave before the end of the day and fly to Iloilo, but we'll see. Finally got to Iloilo in the Philippines. Left from Manila 2 days ago, but ran into a problem at the airport to where I was supposed to have what's called an S-Pass, which means that I've been allowed to travel to a certain province or a certain city. I didn't know that because I thought my visa proved that I had a residence because I was going to be living with my wife, and so one of the requirements for the visa was to send proof that your wife lives in that city. So I was just under the assumption that the visa kind of canceled out the S-Pass, but it didn't. So I had to cancel that flight. That was at 1:30 on that day, and then reschedule for another flight later that day, and then go and book a quarantine hotel in Iloilo so that I could get the S-Pass, because that's the only other way that you could get one, is if you had a booked reservation at a qualified quarantine hotel. I finally did get to Iloilo, but unfortunately, like I said, I had to do 3 more days of quarantine. And just yesterday, at least I got to see my wife yesterday, because I'm required to go get another PCR test to prove that I'm not carrying the COVID. So we're just waiting on the results for that right now. Once I get the results from that test, then I'll be able to leave the hotel. Or the results were supposed to get back in 24 hours. It's Sunday, so that means I have to wait till tomorrow. So it's just been kind of one thing after another. There was an announcement by the Philippine government that said, starting February 1st, all incoming travelers from abroad, international travelers, would no longer have to quarantine. Yeah, so that means I just spent the past, 8, almost 9-10 days in quarantine, and now starting in like 2 days, it's no longer required if you're fully vaccinated. So that just kind of sums up the way things have been going on this trip, and I'm really glad that this trip is over, because I'm not traveling anywhere else until COVID is under control. Let me go ahead and show you my room here. For some reason they gave me a 2-bedroom. I only need the one because it's just me. Fairly comfortable bed, more comfortable than the one I was just at. But again, like, I'm in quarantine, so when I'm laying here watching YouTube or Netflix all day long, any bed can make you stiff. So I try to get up and at least do some stretches and stuff in my room. I'm on the 11th floor. So out here, the window's really dirty, so it looks kind of like it's polluted out there, but it's actually very clear. Overall, it looks like a fairly smallish city. Lots of like corrugated sheet metal for roofing. You got your TV here with what I call the Subway restaurant wallpaper. And there's a little kitchenette in here, with a refrigerator, microwave, and then a small bathroom. So that's pretty much it for the hotel room. Nothing fancy. I think there's only maybe like 1 or 2 other people on this entire floor for the quarantine. I've not seen anybody else or heard anybody else. The room itself wasn't that expensive, but I didn't realize until last minute that it didn't come with food. Usually a quarantine hotel room, they'll bring you food 3 times a day, but this one did not have that included, so I've been having to order food through their restaurant downstairs. So it's actually kind of pricey for Philippines. It's maybe 2 or 3 times more than what you would pay out in the city. But I finally made it to Iloilo City. Don't forget to check out the next episode where we'll visit the California Coral Beach Resort. Thank you guys for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button at the bottom there, and we'll chat to you next time. Salamat.